Huge welcome from sweltering Manchester. I'm here. It's about 33 degrees, sitting in what feels like a sauna or greenhouse. Matt Pendry, your host, as always. And Ryan, you're in London. What is it there? 38, 39
Yeah,
degrees? Is it that high at the moment?
something like that. I mean, I just came back from Italy, and when I stepped out of Finsbury Park station, it was a lot hotter, or felt hotter anyway, than it did in Italy. So that probably tells you the heat of London right now.
Oh, I know. And because I was in Seville and it was 38, 39 there, and it felt mild, to be honest. But then you come back to this country and we're just not built for it, are we? With the infrastructure, with the lack of aircon. So, yeah, please can our viewers forgive us if we are looking a little bit worse for wear with this. So, apologies on our behalf. But it's a great opportunity from our perspective to dive into England's performance. And England's obviously the team we've picked up on quite a lot in previous podcasts. It's our home nation. We had a terrific first game. 4-2 against Croatia that we summarised briefly. But now, unfortunately, the Ghana one, 0-0. And Ryan, maybe I'll pass on to you for some immediate reaction for that.
Yeah, I thought really the Ghanaians did quite well. They had a game plan to sit back, didn't they? And that's what they did. Um, we did say in episode one that we think a lot of teams would be set up very defensively, almost, to get a draw in the group stage, or if it's a knockout round, get to the penalty shootouts or extra time or try and have a goal. And that's sort of the structure that Ghana had. Slightly disappointed with England, but I wouldn't rule too much into it or see too much from that game. I think taking the Croatia game and Ghana game together, we've seen enough to say there's a lot of excitement in the team. I think maybe slight more direct play, or when we are faced with the teams like Ghana in breaking them down, maybe even drop into a back three, release one of the fullbacks just to get more bodies. Um, but I was disappointed probably with the wingers more than anything. When they did get the ball, sometimes they were in a position where they could try and take on the man, and that would then create the space. We almost needed one
Mm.
player to lose a man, and then that suddenly opens up the space, and no one really was able to do that. And I know you're going to make the points of, well, if you had a Palmer, you had a Foden, that's the type of player that would do that. But of course, as we said, this is the team structure that Tuchel's gone for. And really, Gordon was a bit disappointing, and
Mm.
Madueke, I think, played well for him, but again, does he have that cutting edge? Um, he's arguably been one of our bright sparks, certainly in terms of wingers. And
Mm.
though Saka, when he did come on, showed his class. So I think it's a case of just getting through the group stage. It seems to be managing Saka's minutes, and no doubt Saka will
Mm.
be starting in the knockout rounds.
Did you agree with the starting lineup with Spence in, with Madueke playing again, with Claire, Anthony Gordon starting on the left? What were your thoughts in terms of that?
Yeah, I think the Madueke and Gordon choices weren't surprising just based on the Croatia performance. I thought, they both did reasonably well. Um, Spence at left back was a weird one. I mean, to my reckoning, Spence was sort of brought as a backup. I didn't expect him to be starting games. Um, but Tuchel obviously has a lot of respect and credence into to Spence, which is interesting because he hasn't really demonstrated too much for Tottenham. But maybe he sees something we haven't. And to be fair to him, didn't really put a foot wrong. Thought he was bright in certain parts, so I wouldn't focus too much on Spence. And I guess he's managing the game time of the defense. I thought the defense was pretty solid. Still got a clean sheet, which shouldn't be sniffed at. Um, so defensively, I thought it was pretty solid, really. Biggest worry was actually Declan Rice pulling up a bit towards the end, and we did say that
Mm.
as well. But his minutes should be monitored a lot more. And I thought certainly sort of 70, 80 minutes he probably could have done to pull Rice out. Though having said that, he was the best deliverer of the ball in the game, and it probably demonstrates some of the
Mm.
weaknesses in the wingers that our centre midfielder was the one that was pinging in the balls. Really, it needs to be the wingers that are in those positions to ping it into the likes of a Bellingham or a Kane.
Yeah, that's fair. And to be honest, from my perspective, I expected 4 points from the first two games. I thought it'd probably be the other way round, that we'd draw with Croatia, beat Ghana, but I'm not surprised with the outcome. What I am disappointed by was the performance, and it's just the lack of options. As I said in episode one and episode three, we have left the firepower at home. So that incisive cutting edge of a Palmer or Foden, as you quite rightly referenced. But then, moreover, the lack of changes at the back, especially left back and right back. So when Reece James went down for a few minutes, I had my head in my hands because there's no obvious solution for Reece James. We had Trent sitting on the beach somewhere that we could have brought on, but now we haven't got any options there. Konza doesn't do anything like a Reece James would. In addition, Jed Spence is a filler player. You know, he's got pace. That maybe is why Tuchel has selected him. But compared to the likes of Luke Shaw, compared to Lewis Hall, if we've touched on it, he hasn't got the quality. He often came in rather than going wide, I thought as well, which I was disappointed about. It was interesting to see. On a separate note, I thought Tuchel really changed the formation in a way that Woutgate wouldn't have done. So I noted with about 20 minutes to go, and that's when we were more successful. He brought O'Reilly on, and we almost changed to that Man City 3-2-4-1 when he put it was Declan and O'Reilly as the two, three at the back, and then Eze and Rogers were almost in that double attacking midfield position. Now, for me, I think Rogers is a lively player. I don't think Eze did enough. Frankly, I know you're an Arsenal fanboy, so you'll back him to the hilt, but that's when you would want a Palmer coming on to add that little bit of cutting edge or Foden, but he just doesn't have that for me. So I was concerned with the bench. I was concerned that he kept Madueke on rather than bringing on Rashford earlier too. So I think Tuchel needs to have a long, hard look in the mirror because that was a poor coaching performance from him, in my opinion. I'm sure you would disagree.
I mean, gee, I hate to think what you'll be saying if we lost the game. Look, it's 2 games in. We've got 4 points. We're highly likely to top the group. Defensively, as a team, we've been solid. I don't think we'll concede too many goals in the duration of the tournament, and we've got enough firepower to bring down the better teams. And I almost feel like the way we're set up, we're better suited to beat the big teams more so than those teams that sit back. Um, it's just a case of finding a way of getting through those other teams and really, short of O'Reilly sticking his head on the ball and not his shoulder, or Kane actually burying the ball from 3 yards out rather than
Mm.
smashing it over the bar. That's the only difference. And if one of those goes in, happy days. We're all saying we're going to top the group with 4 points, and Harry Kane's going to win the Golden Boot. But um, so yeah, I don't think we should be too demoralised. Um, Highly likely to beat Panama and then get through into the next round. And looking at how the other groups are shaping up, it seems like if we were to make it to the knockout stages, we've got a relatively simple, if you want to call it simple, route to the quarters. And then it's the case where you'll probably likely meet a
Mm.
Brazil and Argentina, and then
Mm.
a final of Portugal or Spain, which we both planned at the start of the tournament.
Agree. That's fair. I think my biggest reservation really is if you look at the FIFA World Rankings, Ghana are ranked 64th, so that's beneath Cape Verde, that's beneath Iraq, that's beneath Tunisia, that's beneath Uzbekistan, that's beneath Saudi Arabia. Some fairly poor teams who've had pretty dismal shows in the World Cup so far, and we can't even put them to the sword. Moreover, possibly the two best chances are outside the ones you mentioned. I thought they could have had a penalty when Konsa took out Prince Adu, and then Pickford could have got a red card when he clashed with the same individual before as well. So I'm just worried that we should be putting these teams to bed. We never do put these teams to bed. And for me, it was just same old England. Okay, we might have gone from Woutgate to a German manager, but it's not really achieved the cutting solution that we would hope for. So, as you say, I think Panama, that should be a good one in the books. If anything, it means that the full strength England will turn up for Panama. And I can see us getting a few goals there, a kind of 3-0 victory. And it's on quite a momentous day for you as well, isn't it? So I'm sure you're looking forward to that game.
Yeah, we'll be in person, won't we, during my stag do. So we'll be in Camden Brewery. If any fans watching want to join us, I think you have to book tickets in advance. We booked ours in February. um, so yeah, looking forward to that one. And really, I mean, to question Tuchel, I think really at the end of the tournament, the question over Tuchel is, did we beat a big team, yes or no? And if we did beat a Brazil and Argentina or Portugal at some stage, then he's done better than Southgate ever did, because Southgate never beat a big team. So let's see how it goes. We're going to be out of the groups. We're probably likely to play
Mm.
an easier team in the next round, and then probably a Mexico, which isn't an easy feat, but I do think Mexico are easier to break down than Ghana. Um, and I could quite easily see us reaching the quarters, shaping up to a tasty clash with Brazil, which we're more than capable of winning. Um, and I could actually see us winning that fixture by a high margin, the
Uh,
way Brazil are set up.
that's a big shout. And on that point as well, what would you see as the strongest England 11? So I guess the two biggest questions would be: do you start Claire Balding or Rashford, and which of the two, three centre halves do you start as well? Where would you fall in both of those debates?
Yeah, I was shocked in game one that Guy was dropped, but there's little between the three of them. I think Concert, Guy, and Stone. So I'm happy with any of those three. I'd probably just edge Guy because he plays on the left side of the centre backs, whereas Stones is more used to playing on the right side. And then just based on form, probably Concert just edges Stones, but happy for them to interchange. I
Mm.
think Reece James is nailed as the right back, really as the left back. And I did say at the start, are really potentially going to have a goal scoring tournament. I mean, he's missed two arguably sitters in the last two games. He could have quite easily had two goals already. But that's what we're
Mm.
saying. He's great at just getting in the box when we're just at the right moment. Depth in Anderson obviously sit in the middle with Bellingham in front. Saka on the right once he's fully fit. And for me, it's interchangeable. I think it's just based on if one of them has a very good game, start that person the next game. I was going into the Panama game, I'll probably start Rashford, give him a crack. If he gets a few goals, stick with him on the left. And then, of course, Kane. Potentially, if the wingers continue to disappoint, which was my biggest worry, do you then start looking, well, do we start Rodgers in one of the wing positions?
Mm.
Does does bring a different type of winger, but again, one that potentially would be more suited to breaking down a team like Ghana, the way they were set up.
Yeah, I think Rogers might get a start as well against Panama. I think it's worth giving him a go, really. Whether you, I'd always play Bellingham, but whether you take out Madueke and try Rogers in that role, or even try, in my opinion, the maligned Eze in that role, but I'd do something different. As I think
Mm,
Madueke has touches, and I think he's good as a direct runner for 15 yards, but then it's the lack of end product that's killing me every time I'm watching. So I think we need more goals and assists from him as we move on. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that game. It's quite exciting. And then, as you say, if we win the group, it does really open up for us. But it's imperative that we do win the group handily and put a few goals past Panama. Hope for 6-1, like 8 years
mm,
ago. That would be a sort of party
yeah,
atmosphere. Kane hat trick. So fingers crossed.
yeah, and
And
potentially
then, sorry, go on.
dropping Declan for the next tie because there is that injury risk. He's had a massive season, pulled up at the end. I'll just take him out for the Panama game and maybe even drop Bellingham in deeper and then Rodgers as number 10 potentially. Or even
Mm.
playing with two tens and just having Anderson. It's Panama after all. Um, but yeah, that's England, who were my favourites at the start of the tournament. Your favourites, Portugal, haven't necessarily had a very good start, but they were more convincing in game two.
Oh, they're phenomenal. It's almost the opposite of England. That England started like well, fantastically, and then have this abject performance. Portugal, the opposite way, were poor against the Democratic Republic of Congo, but they've really turned up against Uzbekistan, who are ranked higher than Ghana for all the naysayers saying it's only Uzbekistan as well. So they've got Kusanov, they've got a decent little team there. I thought, I mean, I watched the game in full yesterday and it was just full throttle. It was exhilarating to watch. The best 41-year-old footballer the world has ever seen, Ronaldo, and it was a clinical finish for the first goal. It really, if you cast your mind back to, it was the Champions League final, I think in Cardiff when they won 4-1 against Juventus, and the first goal was a Ronaldo type finish that he hits it on the turn like that, and it really took me back to 9 years ago there. And then his second goal, just a genius, and Bruno gets it. And there's no player better in the world than Bruno running into space. Ronaldo drags the defenders away to the right, and then Bruno threads that perfect ball through two defenders. Ronaldo looks at the keeper, just takes it, perfect timing, right in the corner. Absolutely beautiful goal, and I was eulogising right over that, which was absolutely phenomenal. So 5-0, emphatic result. Liao came on and Liao looked lively as well. I would start Liao. I think for me, the challenge for Portugal is they're going to have to sacrifice one of their big four central midfielders. They're like Vitinha, João Neves, Bruno, and Bernardo Silva. And for me, Bernardo Silva will have to be the casualty here because you do need that attacking pace. A little bit like England or Bayern Munich, that Ronaldo would drop into holes in the middle, and you've got Liao and whether it's Neto or João Felix or Conte Sal bombing forward in a similar way of Elise and Diaz. So I think that's how they could play. Bruno is looking on form as well. Mendes, very good left back, probably the best in the world. So I thought they were very good, but the true test really will be Colombia, who again have looked excellent so far. 2 wins, two fairly solid wins too. So very much looking forward to that. How does Ronaldo fit now for you? Has he silenced the critics in your mind, Ryan?
Well, I nearly fell asleep with that dialogue, talking about the little fanboy over Ronaldo and Bruno. I mean, you don't need to talk about United and drag the ratings down. But yeah, convincing performance, but you'd expect it. Fair play to Ronaldo, the two finishes were good. I still think there's an issue there in terms of him wanting and needing to be the big player. We saw in the first game that he was taking up space for the likes of a Bruno, where he had an easy tap in. So I think they will get found out in the tournament, and I would love it if Colombia beat them next. Though could potentially set up an England Portugal early on in the rounds if Portugal did lose to Colombia. So again, I did say to make the statement at the start of the podcast in number one that I'd absolutely love it if we beat Portugal. And look at you, you're dressed in your little red of Portugal with your Ronaldo fanboy flag. I think going into
He
that
was
game,
he was
you'll be
phenomenal.
supporting Portugal, won't you, you little traitor?
No comment, no comment. I know I'm a proud patriot. For no comment. But all I'd say is Ronaldo. The, the critique of Ronaldo is the lack of a team player, and the Mendes free kick summed everything up. So Ronaldo did the whole run up, looked at the goalkeeper. Every camera, every eyeball in the stadium was focused on Ronaldo. The little shimmy, and then Mendes just comes and whips it in. And I think that shows that Ronaldo can be a selfless player, can be a team player as well. And even the free kick routine, as an Arsenal fan, you love a good set piece. I think that's the only way you can score a goal, to be honest. And you should have seen the one that Bruno chipped it over and Ronaldo almost scored too. So I'm surprised you weren't there eulogising over the set pieces as well, on top of that. So yeah, let's see. But I think, joking aside, go on, sorry.
Well, if it wins you the league, mate, maybe United should take watch.
Well, yeah, but I think Bruno has been, which is good news here. But I think the key for us, I think we just need to avoid Portugal. So we really need to win that game against Panama handily, and probably hope that Portugal don't go in that get that second place. Because if we did come second, I'd much rather play Colombia, and we have obviously got historic positive muscle memory against Colombia, whereas Portugal, I think we'd go into the Portugal game as second favourites. Personally, regardless of what the bookmakers say, I just think there's a bit of a millstone around England's neck when it comes to Portugal,
Yeah.
from the memories of 2004 and 2006.
Yeah, and that's why it would be so sweet when it does happen, and Madueke does get the brace that he deserves after his recent performance.
Oh God, there's more chance of the UK reaching the moon this year than Madueke scoring a brace against Portugal. I think going to happen. So, but yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Well,
looking good. So, go on, go on.
Yeah, I mean, certainly we're gonna probably have to beat the likes of a Portugal at some point. So why can't it be Portugal? And I do think we'll have the edge over them.
Yeah, it'd be really interesting to see when we do play that tier one team. So we could get Senegal at this rate as well if they win handily, and that would be a rematch from 4 years ago, which isn't a walkover at all, but they have shown to be beatable. Then that Mexico game in the Azteca would be something to watch, but we would walk in as favourites. It's just then were we to get that gauntlet of having to beat three major nations when we can't even beat one major nation in a knockout tie. So let's see what happens. I mean, I'm England are clearly my first team, but then Portugal are evidently my second here. Out of interest, actually, who would your second team be if England do fall foul of your notorious prediction?
Well, I said that my favourites, if it's not England, it'd be Brazil, and that quarterfinal, England Brazil. I mean, Brazil haven't looked too convincing, but I think that's more because I don't necessarily want France to win. I don't want Spain or Portugal to win. There's more of a lesser of evils, really. And Carlo Ancelotti, I think it would really solidify him um, beyond what he's already achieved at club level. I think that'd be epic for him. And who doesn't like a Brazilian fiesta, which would hit the streets of
Mm.
London, no doubt. If they did win it, I'll be probably joining them.
Mm. Oh, indeed. I'm sure you will be.